Now, in our last few shows, we have not been looking over the increasing stack of emails, and it seems my desk is beginning to spill over. Boy, I've got a stack of them here. So I will begin this week's show with, yes, an email from a woman who is dying to know the secret to a good, lasting, and in her, what did she say? She said, positive relationship without all the heartache. Okay, well, before I start tossing off smart-ass remarks, let me read this, and then perhaps... well, let's just see where we get. This is from Linda in Wairika, Jefferson, U.S. Now, wait a minute. If I may pause for a second, friends, this is an interesting way to add a little political charge to the MiltnMia Show. The state of Jefferson, for those who are not familiar, is aiming to become the 51st state of the United States and to secede from heavily taxed California as soon as possible, although I'm not sure the... fine and understanding people in Southern California who can't do without Jefferson's natural resources will allow that to happen. But at any rate, Linda hails from Wairika in Jefferson, right on the backside, the northern side of Mount Shasta. Just a gorgeous location, and she has an interesting question. Mia, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I am 17. My parents have divorced now again, and I want to learn how to have relationships which don't always end up in fighting and constantly getting stupid. My parents fought all the time. Everybody in my family still does in their marriages. And so can you tell me if there is some way to just have a smooth and happy relationship without all the ups and downs? Am I just dumb for thinking this? No, you're not. My boyfriend Mitch just laughs at me, but once I'm done with this fucking school... I just know I'll move on. We already fight a lot, and he just laughs at me when I say, I don't want to fight. He says, everybody does it. People don't never agree on everything, so get used to it. Well, people don't never agree on everything. You're right, Mitch, but she goes on to say, do you think he's right? Maybe if you can, I would like to know your secret to not always fighting. You and Milton don't, do you? Well, now, Linda, that is a very large question. But the truth is, I am kind of like you. I am not into bickering and getting all upset if I don't have to. Not that I grew up around a lot of fighting like you, because I didn't. My parents kept their arguments pretty secret, but my dad, well, he had a hell of a temper, and he let it loose on occasions, believe me. But personally, I've just never been a person who feels comfortable when people are, getting all hot and bothered. Not that I can't. Or, not that I don't or won't, I just like to pick my fights and ignore as much of the crap that I think is unnecessary as I can. But your question is, really, Linda, you're asking, is there a secret to having a perpetually happy relationship? No. No, there is no secret, because that is an impossibility. But instead of insulting you over why that is, let me just say that life isn't meant to be constantly pleasant. Life is a collection of all of our thoughts, emotions, everything irrational, our feelings and impulses, our desires, ambitions, justifications. These are all irrational, and you just can't pick out the pleasant ones and turn your back on the rest, nor can you demand somebody provide you with a life that is only pleasant and positive. Now, just a word, by the way, on that very offensive and highly ugly word, positive. Now, I say it's ugly because we are in this period now where everybody's running around looking for, only positive things, right, as opposed to negative. Now, I get what they're intending. I do. Intuitively, I know what they're saying. It's a lot like what you're asking, Linda. People looking for uplifting and fun and life-giving feelings, and they're calling that positive rather than things that just drag you down and make you feel miserable, which they're terming negative. But look, I've been talking on the show for a long time about breaking the chain of dualistic thought. White, black, good, bad, positive, negative. Part of doing that is to get rid of the idea that everything must be positive, or else whatever else is left is negative. That's BS. Life is much more complex, and there are so many shades that we need to be looking at, as opposed to, well, life is a collection of all of this, right? And positive, negative is a simplistic way, overly simplistic way, to measure and see the world, and I generally reject that. Although I understand where they're coming from on an informal level, on a formal level, let's get rid of that dualism if we can. If you're still confused or want more information, refer to some of our earlier shows on dualistic thought. But you know what, Linda? There is a way to enjoy the life you have and to make it fun, light, and pleasant much more often than not. And that is, hold on,